Hi friends, this is another chapter of the series Free English Lessons. I am David Basantes Fierro, SLT, second language teacher. Today we're going to have another class, a grammar class about phrasal verbs. This is a class for level C1. All right, so to start talking about the phrasal verbs, we need to first understand the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. Well, so basically, transitive verbs are verbs that have object, and intransitive verbs are verbs that do not have object. They have no object. Now, what is an object? To demonstrate that, I'm going to present three sentences. The verb eat that I'm using is a transitive verb. So let's understand this case with the verb eat in three forms. First form, I eat an apple. Second form, B, I eat in the park. C, I eat an apple in the park. All right, so as you can see, these three sentences have subject, which is I, and then the verb, which is a transitive verb, eat. But there's a difference between the form A and the form B. This part, as you can see, an apple is an object, uh, whereas in the park is a complement. So there is a difference between an object and a complement. An object is a part of the sentence or a noun that can receive action from the subject through the verb. In other words, the verb transmits, transfers action to the object, and the object gets transformed. It receives transformation or alteration from the verb. In other words, if you eat an apple, the apple finishes. It transforms from food to energy. But it is not necessary always to write or to put the object. Sometimes you can put only the complement, like in this sentence B, I eat in the park. Now, in the park is not an object, is a complement. Why? Imagine that you go to a park and you eat an apple. What happens to the park? Basically, nothing. Therefore, the park is not transformed or altered by the action. Okay, therefore, in the park is a complement. It is not an object. Another important characteristic of the object versus the complement is that an object doesn't have prepositions, especially when we're talking about direct objects. The word "an" is an article. It is not a preposition. On the other hand, C, the complement, it has a preposition. The preposition is in the park. Whenever you detect the presence of a preposition here, then we're talking about a complement. Now, on the format C, we have the sequence, I eat an apple in the park. This sentence has a subject, a verb, an object, and a complement. Well, you can have an object or a complement or an object and a complement for transitive verbs such as the verb eat. Other transitive verbs are bring, cost, give, lend, offer, pass, play, read, send, sing, teach, write, buy, get, leave, make, and many others that you will have in a list in a description, a transitive verbs list. Now, what happens with the intransitive verbs? Intransitive verbs can have only complement. The intransitive verbs do not have object. And these are the verbs agree, appear, arrive, become, belong, collapse, consist, cost, cough, cry, depend, die, and many others that you will have in a list of the intransitive verbs list and the link and the description. So we have transitive and intransitive verbs. Here I have a comparison between transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Right? As you can see, a transitive verb can have sometimes object, sometimes it has complement, sometimes it can have object and complement, whereas an intransitive verb never has object. It can never have an object. Check here, we have a preposition with. This is an indication that this part is a complement, not an object. Also, the transitive verbs you can transform to passive voice. The intransitive verbs do not have passive voice. Well, this is the introduction. Today we're talking about the transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs. So let's go there. Phrasal verbs. Now, a phrasal verb is a verb that has a preposition and it changes the meaning from a regular verb, right? So we have the intransitive phrasal verbs, the transitive phrasal verbs. Now, the transitive phrasal verbs have two groups, the inseparable transitive phrasal verbs, and we have also the separable transitive phrasal verbs. Let's quickly understand and jump into this with more detail. Now, intransitive phrasal verbs don't have object. They have a verb and a preposition, such as the case of the verb stand up. This verb doesn't have object and you cannot do anything. You cannot separate either. You have to use it directly like this one. For example, she stands up in class. There is an entire list of intransitive phrasal verbs that you're going to have also in the description and the links. Now, we're going to go to the transitive phrasal verbs. Let's see these two groups. Now, inseparable transitive phrasal verbs, they have this sequence, verb plus preposition plus object. For example, the case of the verb look after. Let's have a sentence here. She looks after the pet. Remember, the verb look has one meaning. It means to observe. But look after, with the preposition after, together it has another meaning, means to protect, to care for something. Okay. Now, to take care of something. Now, the verb look after has has an object, which is the pet. For example, she looks after the pet, but you can never separate look from after. You cannot separate this verb from this preposition. These two elements have always to be together. They have to remain together. Finally, we have the separable transitive phrasal verbs. Like, for example, the case of the verb turn on. In the case of the verb turn on, you can separate. So you have actually three forms to present this verb. Let's check these three forms and a final fourth form that is very common but incorrect. Many people who are learning, they try to present the verbs in this form, number 4, the letter D, but it is incorrect. So let's start. Form A, verb plus preposition plus object when the object is a noun. Example, she turns on the TV. This is the subject, this is the verb with a preposition, and this is the object, and the object is a noun. Case B, verb plus object when the object is a noun, and preposition. For example, she turns the TV on. In this case, we have separated the phrasal verb, the verb with its preposition. From its preposition, they are separated, and in the midst, in the middle, it's the object in a noun form. Now we're going to go to the form C. Verb plus object when this object is a pronoun, an object pronoun, and then a preposition. For example, she turns it on. In this case, again, the verb turn on is separated, and in the midst, in the middle, between these two, you have the object pronoun it, referring to the TV, of course. So these three presentations are three possibilities that are correct, but we have to be aware of this form number 4, which is incorrect. Verb plus a preposition plus an object pronoun at the end. That is incorrect for phrasal verbs. She turns on it. If you want to use the pronoun it, you can only use it in the form C, not in the end. So remember, this is incorrect. Now, there is a challenge. Sometimes we're giving a verb, for example, look after, turn on, or stand up. How can we know when it's separable, inseparable, transitive, or intransitive? All right. So some grammar books have given us this wonderful symbol or symbols to detect. So when you have a phrasal verb with a symbol plus, this means that this is an inseparable transitive phrasal verb. Remember, a plus symbol, this is inseparable transitive phrasal verb. Now, when you have this phrasal verb and in the middle you have this asterisk and also you have a plus symbol, this means this is a separable transitive phrasal verb. Now, if you don't have any symbol here, no asterisk and no plus symbol, this is an intransitive phrasal verb. Sometimes you will have a case when you have an asterisk and you don't have a plus symbol. Well, anyway, that is also separable transitive phrasal verb. Let's practice how to detect this. Okay, so let's check these 4 cases, these 4 phrasal verbs, and we're going to use these symbols to detect if they are transitive, intransitive, separable, or inseparable. So let's see the verb adapt. As you see, it has an asterisk here and a plus symbol. So when it has a plus symbol, that means this is transitive. Now, when it has an asterisk, that means it's separable. Therefore, adapt with this asterisk and a plus, this is a separable transitive phrasal verb. Now we have another adapt to. This adapt to, now let's check. It doesn't have an asterisk, but it has a plus symbol. Therefore, when it has a plus symbol, it is transitive, but inseparable. So adapt to, it is an inseparable transitive phrasal verb. Let's check this other. Add up. Add up, it doesn't have any asterisk and it doesn't have any plus symbol. So therefore, this is inseparable, intransitive phrasal verb. Okay. And finally, let's check this one. Ask out, but it has an asterisk and it has a plus symbol. Remember, when it has a plus symbol, it is transitive. When it has an asterisk, it is separable. So therefore, ask out in this form, it is separable transitive phrasal verb. Yeah, the list of phrasal verbs, it is very, very extensive, and it needs practice and a lot of practice and study. And of course, you will acquire this language if you are exposed to the English speaking world. If so, you will get it in a much easier way. Now, if possible, I want to show another list. So yeah, maybe I'm going to show in the description. Okay, so in the description you will have a list, a complete list of the intransitive phrasal verbs, separable, the transitive phrasal verbs, separable and inseparable, right? So go to the description and check the links. If you're on Instagram, go to the title of the video, click there, and the title is in the upper part. When you click on the title, it displays the link for any downloads or any exercises online. If you're watching us on Facebook or on Instagram, the description might be down below. Remember to follow us on Instagram, on IGTV, on Facebook, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive more videos. Well, see you in the next video. Thank you very much.